You know, we were never addicted to our phones. We became addicted to escaping boredom, to avoiding silence, to avoiding that stillness whenever we're not doing something. Our phones just became the fastest way out of that discomfort. We don't check our phones 96 times a day because we need to. We do it because our brain panics when it feels bored now. And we trained it that way. Social media, it didn't just change how we communicate. It literally rewired how we think, how we feel, and how we deal with life. It reshaped our entire nervous system. Let's be real. We didn't always panic when things got quiet. We didn't used to grab our phones in the middle of a conversation. That was learned. And it's not just behavior, it's brain chemistry. Look, dopamine is a chemical that our brain releases whenever we feel rewarded. And every time we open our phones and start scrolling, our brain gets a hit. So over time, our brain builds a loop. We get bored, and then we scroll, and then our brain gets the reward, and then we just repeat the cycle. Now, we're not even scrolling because we want to. We're scrolling because our nervous system has become addicted to that loop. And the crazy part about it is the whole system was designed that way on purpose. All of the social media these days have what's called infinite scroll. And this came straight out of casino psychology. It's the same concept as a slot machine. There's no end. There's no natural stopping point. Just the chance that maybe that next pull or maybe that next scroll or maybe that next swipe will give us something good. And that unpredictability is what keeps us hooked. And our brains get flooded with dopamine, not from the reward, but just the possibility of getting a reward. I remember when I was addicted to opioids. I was going through withdrawals one day, just feeling wrecked. Then I got a phone call from somebody who had some pills. And before I even touched the pill, my brain and body felt immediate relief. That's the power of dopamine anticipation. It's not just the reward, it's the promise of the reward that hooks us. And that's exactly what social media is built on. The next thing might be the thing. So we keep going because we're hooked on the maybe. Maybe the next thing is the thing that I'm going to like that's going to produce that feeling. And that's how we end up scrolling for 45 minutes and we forget what we even picked up the phone for. The worst part is even quick checks do real damage. You see, there's something called attention residue. Every time that you switch from a task, say you text or scroll or check your email, part of your brain stays stuck on the last thing. So your focus gets fractured. You feel drained and your brain can never really get locked in on one thing. We think we're multitasking, but really we're just bleeding energy. It's not just about focus, it's about what your brain starts craving. The scroll, it doesn't just relieve boredom, it starts to feel like relief itself. And that's when dopamine rewiring kicks in. So not only are we losing hours a day just scrolling, but it also jades our opinions on certain topics because the algorithm just feeds you more of the things that you're reacting to. So before you know it, you're not getting both sides of anything. You're not even seeing reality. You're getting a curated version of reality that just reinforces what you believe. And then people watch this curated version of reality and they think that they're the ones that have all the answers. They're the ones that have it all figured out. And as long as it comes from their side, they're going to believe it. And this is especially true these days in politics. Both sides can say the exact same thing. But if it came from my side, it's okay. But if it came from your side, it's evil. And it can be the exact same thing. The problem is, both sides are doing it. And then each side is getting fed content that just keeps on making them angry with each other. Each side thinks the other one's crazy. All this is doing is making people more reactive, less reasonable, and more easy to control. And that is some weak ass shit. But this is all subconscious conditioning, and most people don't even know it's happening. I challenge anyone listening to this, go outside into the real world, walk around, have real conversations. You will not see the hatred and the division and the chaos that you are seeing and experiencing from that little rectangle in your pocket. There are two worlds now, the real world and the online world, and they are not the same. Before social media, we had problems, yes, but not like the problems we have today. Teen depression is up 63% in the last decade. Suicide rates in girls aged 10 to 14, that's up 151% since 2009. 1 in 3 teenage girls now report having an eating disorder. Those numbers didn't just come out of nowhere. Those numbers started showing up about the same time that social media did. Back then, you just felt pressure to fit in at school. Now, that same pressure follows these kids home. It never turns off. They have it in their pocket. They carry it with them everywhere that they go. They don't get a break. As kids, we used to just compare ourselves to the people around us. Now, these kids are comparing themselves to fake shit like influencers and filters and, curated photos and videos. Now that's the damage that's happening to kids, but as adults, we ain't doing much better. Now, we can't focus, we can't stay off our phones, we scroll when we're overwhelmed, we scroll when we're bored, we scroll when we're avoiding something. We've literally trained our brains to chase stimulation and avoid silence or stillness. We don't slow down to think, we just react. We don't take time to process anything. We just keep scrolling. Oftentimes, we can't focus on what's in front of us because we're looking for something that's going to pull our attention away. And the scariest part, we start to feel productive just because we're consuming. We confuse stimulation with movement. Watching other people build becomes a substitute for building our own life. You don't even realize it's happening because scrolling, it feels like momentum. But it's not. It's avoidance, dressed up as ambition. And it doesn't stop when the day ends. There's a real term for this now. It's called revenge bedtime procrastination. And I am all the way guilty of this, and which is one of the catalysts for making me want to make this video. So revenge bedtime procrastination is where you feel like you didn't get enough alone time or me time throughout the day. And so at night, when it's time to go to bed, you just lay in bed and scroll on your phone. You know you need the rest, but we just scroll anyway because our brains these days are so overstimulated that any kind of silence feels like punishment. We keep on chasing this moment of me time, and then we're losing the next day because of it. Because studies have shown if you stay up late with the blue light in your face, it's not good for your sleep quality. And I still do it. But by making this video and then listening back to this video, knowing everything that I have said, it's going to speak to me so that I can discontinue some of these negative habits. And hopefully you can too. It's like we're not even living anymore. We're just waiting to be stimulated. You ever wonder why you can't just delete the app and stop? Because it's not just a bad habit. It's become a coping mechanism. You feel overwhelmed, you scroll. You feel unsure what to do next, you scroll. You feel frustrated, annoyed, bored, you scroll. You don't even know what you're feeling sometimes. You just grab your phone out of habit. And it goes deeper than just a habit. Every time we get our phones and we feel that little relief, our brain makes note of it. It says, next time you feel like this, do that again. And that's how these patterns have gotten wired. Now the screen isn't just a distraction. It's your brain's go-to way of dealing with stress, boredom, and discomfort. And once that's locked in, your subconscious starts reaching for it before you ever even realize you're doing it. That's why it feels automatic. That's why it feels hard to stop. Because you're not just breaking a habit, you're breaking a program that your brain thinks is keeping you safe. But the beautiful thing is, we can rewire that habit. We can rewire our brains. And this is much deeper than just deleting apps. You have to actually regain control of your nervous system and your attention. And here's how to do that. Step 1, you got to interrupt the loop. Start noticing the moment that urge to pick up your phone hits. And instead of picking up your phone, just pause for 10 seconds. You have to interrupt the automatic behavior. You have to sit in that momentary discomfort and not react. I noticed this myself. Like whenever I was working, I would get a text, and so I'd pick my phone up to respond to the text, and then automatically I would just open Instagram and just start scrolling. Or if I'm sitting at a stoplight, I pick up my phone and start scrolling. Or if I'm waiting for something to load or waiting for something to finish, I'd pick up my phone and start scrolling. It became an automatic behavior. And you can't change a behavior that you don't catch. So the first step is catching yourself whenever you do it. Second step is you have to pause instead of react. We're retraining our brain to stop chasing cheap dopamine every time life slows down. So when you feel the urge to pick up your phone, just pause and then do something different instead of picking up your phone. Widen your gaze. Sit back, widen your gaze. Take a deep breath, stand up, go for a walk. Do something simple that's going to break the pattern of when you used to just automatically grab your phone. Even just ignoring the itch without reacting will help break the pattern. I started putting my phone in a drawer when I'm working because if it's in front of me, then I'll grab it and it's automatic. And that's a problem. But there's also proof that, putting your phone away works. There was a study done by the University of Texas called the brain drain. And so what they did is they tested people on mental performance and focus. They had 3 sets of people. One group, they had their phone on the desk. One group, they had their phone in their pocket, and the other group had their phone in a different room. The group of people that had their phone in the other room on these tests, they performed the best by far. And the group that had their phone on the desk did the worst, even though they weren't using it. Just being near their phone and seeing it made their brain work harder and perform worse. So no, it's not just in our heads. We're overstimulated. And this device is part of the reason that we can't lock in. That's why getting it out of sight matters. It helps our brain come off autopilot. It helps us break the loop. That's the beginning of rewiring. It's about doing something different so our brain stops running that same program. And ironically, the silence that we keep avoiding is where our best thoughts live. It's called the default mode network. That's the part of our brain that kicks on whenever we experience stillness. It's where creativity happens. It's where vision happens. It's where problem solving happens. It's where identity happens. And social media hijacks it. Probably by design. Well, certainly by design, but probably for more nefarious purposes. Won't get into in this video. But by doing that, we're losing the part of our brain that was meant to build our lives. Spend time in silence every day. Put your phone in another room for a portion of the day. Let boredom happen. Let your body come back to just being calm. I like to personally sit and meditate every day for 30 minutes. And if I mess up my schedule and I don't get 30 minutes, I at least try to sit for 15 in complete silence. No music, no phone, just breathing, envisioning my future, and just sitting in stillness. I try to do that every single day. Now, I'm also addicted to scrolling on my phone, so there's a give and take there, but I'm working on the addiction aspect of it. So then all I'd be left with is the meditation aspect, the stillness aspect, and that's going to have so many benefits. We'll get to that later. The truth is, most people stay overstimulated all day long. They don't pause, they don't slow down. Their alarm clock goes off and they immediately grab their phone or they immediately get up and start rushing to work. Their brain's always chasing something. Their nervous system never settles, so they can't think clearly. They can't focus. They feel off and they don't know why. And the worst part is this just doesn't affect you. I read a study from 2019 and it said that roughly 40% of kids wish that their parents would get off their phones. Another study said nearly half of teenagers felt like their parents were distracted, even when they were conversing. Kids can feel when we're checked out. Kids can feel when we're giving them half of our attention. They remember that. That shapes them. They're learning how to be present by watching us, and we're giving them the exact opposite. And if that doesn't wake you, if you have kids and that doesn't wake you up, I don't know what will. We have to ask ourselves, who are we without constant distractions? Without the dopamine hits, without the need to be stimulated 24 hours a day. We've got to start building that person because that's the person that actually matters. If you're on the phone, brushing your teeth, cooking dinner, eating dinner, at the stoplight, in the grocery store line, that's not just a habit anymore. That's an addiction. And that addiction is running your life. And if you don't fix it, you'll never know who you could have become. And some of you may listen to this and like, wow, it's not that big of a deal. But let me tell you, every doom scroll, every distraction, every moment you give in to comfort, it's all adding up. Not just in time loss, it's adding up in your identity, it's adding up in discipline, and it's adding up in confidence. And so, once I realized I had this old addiction problem, I did a little research and found a few things that we can get back. Here's what I found that we can get back once we begin breaking the addictions to social media and our phones. Number one, our focus sharpens. We stop bouncing between 100 tabs in our mind and we're able to focus on one thing. We start finishing what we start. Number two, we feel calmer. Our nervous system finally gets a break, not only from doom scrolling to get that dopamine hit, but also from the anger and shit that we feel watching dumb people in the world do dumb things. We become less reactive, we become more steady, we become more present. Number three, our memory gets stronger because our brain's not getting fried by constant switching and shallow input. Number four, our creativity comes back. Stillness activates the part of your brain that generates original thought. Real ideas, not just recycled noise. Number five, we sleep better, we get deeper, more restorative rest because our minds aren't overstimulated by late night scrolling. We reconnect with our instincts. We stop second guessing everything. We start trusting ourselves again. We feel motivated for real, not inspired by somebody's, fake motivational reel or whatever, but motivated by our own clarity, our own thoughts, our own desires. Now, let me tie this all the way back into success, since that's what this whole series has been about. Because this ain't about social media, partly. This is about your future. Success takes boredom. It takes monotony. It takes focus. It takes consistency. It takes silence. The exact things that social media has trained you to avoid. If you want to win, then you need a brain that can sit in discomfort without needing a hit of dopamine. You need a nervous system that doesn't panic when things get quiet. You need an identity that's built on standards. Let me tell you what success really is. Success is being able to show up when no one's watching. Success is doing the work even though there's no applause. Success is building something real in a world that's addicted to filters and pretending. The greatest threat to your future isn't failure. It's overstimulation. It's distraction disguised as opportunity. It's dopamine disguised as progress. Real success is invisible until it becomes undeniable. It won't give you those dopamine hits. It'll feel slow. It'll feel quiet. It'll feel boring sometimes. But if you can master that, then you'll have an edge that 99% of people will never have because they're still swiping. So here's your challenge. For the next 24 hours, every time you feel the urge to pick up your phone, don't. And ask yourself, is this good for me? Or is it bad for me? Does it support the person that I'm trying to become? Don't judge the thought, just notice it. Don't say, I'm a shitty person because I thought this. Just notice the thought. Turn your phone to grayscale. Move your apps off the home screen. When you feel that phantom vibration, stand up, breathe, and remember, you're the one that's in control. Don't let the phone control you. That's all I got. As I said, I made this for you as much as I made it for me, because it's a big problem that I have. But I'm going to solve it. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to move forward without this crazy addiction to my cell phone. And I hope that you do the same thing. I hope you got something from this. If you're not already, I ask that you subscribe. If you think this can help any of your phone addicted friends, send it to them. Thank you for watching. I really hope it helped. It helped me kind of getting all this out. Remember, make good choices, and I'll see you on the next one.